Do you think that villains must always be evil, Sangu?
No. No. I mean, yeah, no, that's my answer.
All right, next question.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes a good villain is just straight up psychopathically evil. But I think a lot of the time, the most compelling villains are the ones that you can see where they're coming from. You can almost root for them, but there's something there that means you can't. It's often about, a lot of things will mirror the hero and the villain, where they both want something, and it might be the same thing, but one is willing to go to these lengths to do it, and the other one is not. And so I think that, I find that more interesting, just because it's more real. I feel like very few villains we encounter in the real world are just straight up evil. They're often people we can relate to in a lot of ways. They're just, there's a bridge too far, and they lose you. And so, yeah. So I don't think they have to, yeah, no.
I enjoy when the villain starts out looking like they're just sort of evil, and then you start to sort of learn more about them to uncover those layers. That process I really enjoy, and may or may not be in here as well. But I will have to say also, I feel like right now it is very in vogue to have these villains that sort of have these tragic backstories or can be redeemed. And I will say there is a part of me that kind of misses, like, no, that's just an evil entity. It's just evil. Maybe it's going back a little too much to Tolkien, but I feel like I would be cool if some of that came back into the world of fantasy.
A big thing for me, like sort of on that note, is just like the idea of choice, because like you choose every day whether you want to do good things or bad things. And the thing with Athalie, the main antagonist in Muted, is like the main problem there between her and Camille is like Athalie is like, this is how we've always done things. This is how we will always continue to do things. If you do anything else, then you're wrong. And because if you do something else, then that means that I didn't have to do it, but I did it. And so like she just can't accept a reality where her life could have been different. She has to continue to go by these rules that she doesn't even necessarily agree with, but to change her mind would just shatter everything. So she just keeps doubling down instead of, looking at your life and being like, actually, yeah, I am really unhappy, and changing things. She just gets worse and worse because she just keeps digging the hole deeper and deeper, which is tragic in its own way, but, she could choose to get out and she doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, I do think there's something fun about like a good old-fashioned psychopath, but at the same time, I think there's something a lot more satisfying about, yeah, like maybe the villain is a parental figure and they're just too damaged. They think they're doing right and they're not, and they can't heal themselves, and it doesn't stop them from being the villain of your story. It's just that they're not the villain of their own story. And one of the things that I wanted to touch on in this book was this question of like, yes, obviously in the background it's World War II. You've got a really clear, black and white villain here in Adolf Hitler, who does not appear in the book, but his actions are on every page. But then I think the actual villain of this story, with no spoilers, is folks who are making deals behind the scenes, who are compromising, who are saying, well, this works for me, even if it doesn't work for everyone else, so I'm going to worry about what's best for me and for my people and not worry about what's best for other people. Yes, I'm compromising myself, but compromises have to be made. And I think that there's something very dangerous about that mindset. But a person who is thinking in that way isn't thinking of themselves as a villain. They're thinking of themselves as someone who is dealing with unfortunate circumstances. But at the end of the day, I think there's a question there about, when do you become the villain if you start doing what's right for you and wrong for other people?
Absolutely. Yeah, Legionnaire's Guide is one of those kind of more straightforward villains. At least the demons are invaders from another plane who are doing very, very bad things and do need to be taken out. But I feel like a lot of the villains I've been really compelled by recently are the ones who, at their core, have a good idea, or they're doing something that from a certain point of view is the right thing, but for the wrong reasons or in the wrong way. An example like The Incredibles, where Syndrome is trying to democratize superpower through technology, but he's doing this by killing all the superheroes and making it a meritocratic system where you're going to have to pay for the superpowers.
Great example.
Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah, I think everything everyone said on the panel. I always kind of refer my villain, if I'm writing a villain, to like Killmonger. Just the way, just the way he operated into things. Yes, I don't agree with what he did, but it's like one of those things. He's like, yeah, but I understand why you did it, though. Especially being cut off. If you're cut off from like something that could have saved you, and the people that in that safe haven, they know that it could have saved you, and you're cutting somebody off from that, like that. I understand why people become a villain. Like I understand them like more and more. So I kind of model my villains after that.
Yeah. Another great villain, Killmonger.